Welcome to Underrated Movies. I am your guy, the man, the myth, Mr.
Welcome back to Underrated Movies. I'm your guy, I'm your man, Mr. Albert Henry. Today, I'm going to talk to you movie Halloween Ends. But I think I'm going to reflect on the whole trilogy as a whole. So I'm going to call it Blumhouse Halloween Trilogy, which is basically what it is. And was particularly with Ends, because I remember watching a analysis video on the perspective of it, of that film. And I see where they were going with this. And it's currently on Netflix. So for those who haven't seen Ends or are curious to watch the Blumhouse Halloween, Ends is only on Netflix. So I do recommend seeking them out. It's kind of unusual where a film or a franchise would reboot or do like a sequel to the original. They would basically replicate the beats of the original, like Halloween, but I'm referring to the 2018 version, which is a sequel, and then the Halloween Kills, and they parallel those to the Halloween, each Halloween 2 from 1981, where both films or sequels take place the same night. Um, I thought the Halloween 2018 was a good sequel, the direct sequel to the original, which retconned one of my favorite movies of all time, Halloween 2 of 1982. It was cool. Um, they got rid of the spiritual, supernatural element to Michael's character, which I kind of like adding that because it made sense on how he was kind of navigating around, but it was cool that they tried to eliminate that and make it more mysterious, but they shifted to where he was just more of a human being, which is fine. I didn't have any problem with. Well, maybe a little bit. It diminishes his, at least for me, the disbelief of his ability to be that strong and skinny and to basically choke up somebody up in the air and choke them and stab him, where he has an iconic hill where he nails somebody to the door and they're hanging. Uh, and the mysterious aspect of it does diminish a bit to make him just a regular human being. But I liked the idea that there was like some sort of supernatural presence in Michael Myers. Halloween Kills, like I said, the first 2018 was cool, where the direction was more on the daughter and the granddaughter. Didn't mind that, because Laurie Strode felt like a side character. She feels like a side character throughout the whole trilogy. Where looking back, I don't mind that. If they're trying to make that more known, that it's going to be more about her children. Halloween 2, Halloween Kills. I had a great time with Halloween Kills. It did feel like a two-parter where it just felt like an ongoing look of analyzing Michael Myers and the evil he puts out. I had a great time with that. I was expecting the town to be a little bit more crazy and loony, but I enjoy it. Halloween Ends, which I just got done watching for the first time. I'm fine with the story. The story felt like it could have been better fitted for Scream, for like the Scream franchise. Um, Maybe I don't know. Writers, when they come up with a story that feels unique and it feels authentic, and they work it, I don't necessarily mind where the story was going with Michael Myers here, because this character, I forgot his name, was pretty much tag teaming with Michael, and this character is the main character of the movie, which I don't have a problem. But the storyline they chose, I think, was a safety net of all the other movies that dictate that kind of character, like Joker, like Taxi Driver, just like social, isolated man who can adapt and they resort to violence. And then you have him morph into this gothic, badass kind of vibe where they make him feel like a biker. You know, I don't think it was the right direction for this movie, but I still liked it overall. And to see, well, Michael Myers again, he's an old man because the sequel takes place 40 years, so it makes sense for him to be old and not being have the mobility to do what he would do back in the 70s. It was interesting. I was kind of more into the idea of Laurie Strode and her trying to reconnect with her granddaughter, but they kind of do sideline that part a little bit and got more interested in the main character, where there is this dissolve of the fear aspect of what to fear in this film because you are focusing on a uh, killer. And then, the whole motive is we've seen it before. So there's nothing really disturbing about his character except he's hating the world and then wanting to off people by imitating Michael Myers or joining him doing his thing, uh, which is like he's basically tag teaming him. So there was one little moment where Michael grabs him and they like have like a moment and they pretty much see what Michael sees or at least have some sort of connection. It did to me. It didn't make too much sense. There were some parts of the movie that didn't make sense, but I understand from the perspective of Michael Myers' presence influencing the city, and this whole city is scared, and then the city town is turning against Laurie, turning against everybody that's associated with Myers. The opening sequence was interesting, though. It got me hooked, and does deal with the main character and why he is in that state. I won't spoil it because it's on Netflix. Go watch it on Netflix. I highly recommend it. Um, but it is a divisive slasher movie. It's not really scary. I can't really say I would get scared from this or from any. There we go. Yeah, I guess the term incel Halloween would probably be appropriate. Would I watch this movie? And yeah, I like this better than Halloween 3. because Halloween 3 had nothing to do with Michael Myers at all. And I get it. It's the fear of this character, the symbol that triggered the whole town to be fearful and chaotic. So the scene towards the end where Michael finally meets his demise, it's like a whole city, the whole town got cleansed of his evil spirit or his evil, and that was refreshing to see. It's refreshing to see when it end on a happy note. So that was a good thing to see from a Halloween film, from a horror film where it felt like the end to this whole thing. So that was refreshing to see. I actually like that because it did bookend a series of movies that I personally don't think they don't need to reboot anymore. I mean, the only studio I'm willing to see if they'll take a dab at it is A24. But I would say, dang, has it been really that 4 years already? Oh no, three, like 22, 23, 24, 25, 26. 4 years already. Wow. Anyway, wow. Yeah, I that's the only the studio I'm willing to see. Well, okay, maybe Neo. I don't know about Neo though. But A24 is really the only one I'm willing remotely interested to see if they do decide to reboot this. Because I mean, Halloween Ends wasn't bad. I liked it. I could see myself watching it again. I'm a little bit with the story because when that main character, I'm just going to say it, when he gets killed, it does feel like an act of God because you spent so much time with this character. So maybe I am a little mixed. I liked it. Um, they could have came up with a better story. I do think it's kind of I do think it's underrated because it was a risky slasher movie that took a swing with the franchise and then tried to do something different, which I was on board because seeing the same thing over and over again tends to get boring. So I'm glad that this filmmaker chose to experiment with a new story and just went with it, and I applaud it. So I do recommend checking it out. I do recommend seeing the whole trilogy as a whole. And I don't think for those who aren't interested in watching old movies, because the original is 1978, and the second one, my favorite movie, one of mine, 1981. So you don't necessarily need to watch the originals because the sequel trilogy does a good recap of the originals, and they're all pretty straightforward. But again, Halloween 2 by 1981, retcons, all that. So just watch the original. And I don't know, well, unless you're a really movie fan, because if you watch the original, Laurie Strode is the star, but it's more on Donald Pleasant. So it's like a detective movie, like a slow burn detective movie with small little kills that kind of really picks up literally in the third act of the film. I think seeing it in the theater would I would think I would have not liked it if I saw it at the theater because when I was hearing stuff about it, it did turn me off. But then now seeing it after what 4 years since it ended, I think I like the experience more now because my expectation wasn't too high. I think that's just the thing with the streaming. I didn't mind Laurie. It was a bothersome in the first movie, but as it kind of went along, I kind of saw where they were going with it. Because even in the original, Laurie didn't feel like she was like the central character, even though she was the main part of it. Donald Pleasant was always like the main character in those movies. Laurie got more of the lead in Halloween H2O. And I don't know, I'm rambling because I'm still thinking about the Halloween Ends because I liked it. I like the whole Blumhouse trilogy as a whole. I wouldn't mind having it on DVD. Michael in the film, no. Understanding it because, again, it takes place 40 years after the original movie. 40 years. So yeah, he's not as strong as he is. But that mindset already kind of kicked in. Yeah, the dude's old. He's an old, weird, evil serial killer. That the motivation ain't too clear. He's just obsessed with Laurie Strode, which that motivation is scary enough. It's like, why is this person just after Laurie? You don't know. He just is. Interesting. You have a deranged man literally haunting a person for 40 years. And that idea is actually scary. And then to see her in Michael, to finally like destroy his body and to see that relief of her character, I also felt relieved that this felt like the end of just the end of everything Halloween associated. So it was a good thing to finally see that character because I'm a fan of Jamie Lee Curtis and then the role, you know, Laurie Strode because I love the Halloween franchise. But to see, that character finally get relieved of the torture and the torment she dealt with this evil entity brought relief to me. Um, and bittersweet. And I like that they ended like and maybe not the best way, but I like again it took swings and that's something that I would advocate for franchise movies to they do the same thing over and over again to do something a little bit different. They take risk. And I applaud the filmmaker for it. Halloween Ends, yeah. I liked it. Blumhouse Halloween is a good addition to the franchise. Have you seen it? Let me know in the comment section below if you enjoyed the Blumhouse Halloween trilogy. And let me know what is your favorite Halloween film.